Memorial Day weekend here in the Bay Area, and I thought maybe we'd take a walk around the garden. It's been a pretty cool spring. That's lucky for us since it's been a drought for several years. Lower temperatures keep the water from disappearing. So let's have a look and see how things are doing over here. Right over here we have cucumbers that were planted in 15-gallon buckets full of potting soil with a polymer starch to hold moisture and some organic fertilizer. They're doing well. I'm starting to see the first signs of flowering, so this is good. Down over here I've got some spaghetti squash, and the spaghetti squash is trailing out. I see little bitty spaghetti squashes right there. The corn has been doing very well this year because of the drought conditions and the fact that there was very little winter rain. I started a lot of things in my greenhouse that I ordinarily would have just planted directly in the ground. I did that so I could get like corn seed to germinate, bean seed to germinate in the warm greenhouse. Then I moved it out here into the ground a month early under floating row covers so I could get access to that little bit of winter moisture before it disappeared. In general, the garden's looking pretty green, good, and abundant over here, so I guess it was the right thing to do. There's my row of Ace tomatoes at the bottom of my Hawaiian super sweet corn. They're doing quite well. So the zucchini went in a full month early this year, but it's doing great. Over here I have my bucket farm where I took 25 and 15-gallon containers from large trees, planted them with tomatoes, and I got some eggplant over there, and then around the bottoms I put Italian string beans on this side, and on the shadier side I put head lettuce. Now some of the lettuce is going to seed. Next to it over here I have my pole beans coming up. And so what I've done is I've clustered everything into a rather tight assembly where when I pour water into the pots, the plants in the pots get the water. I have a polymer starch to hold water in those pots. Then the water that trickles through falls to the crops that grow around the bottom of the pots. So we're kind of double stacked here. Have a tiered system going on. Here's a good overview. I've got peppers down in the corner where I dug up my carrots recently. And I've got some lettuce in between and some dill in between. Corn going up the back. Tomatoes and eggplants in buckets. Beans on the bottom. Over here we have artichokes, which are perennial in the garden. These aren't as abundant as I've seen them in past years, but they're doing just fine. Here I've still got my onions, from last winter. It'll be July before these are ready to harvest. Yeah, some more spaghetti squash over there, lettuce for seed, some broccoli ready to pick. Behind that I've got cabbages coming on. They'll be at least a month away yet. More tomatoes over here. I've got a blank spot where there's fresh carrot seed because I just dug my last patch. Here I have one of the more incredible crops of kumquats that I have ever seen in my life. Anybody out there want to make kumquat marmalade, give me a call. Look at this. Here's the lettuce seed crop after we finished harvesting the heads. Here's endive seed for the next crop. Right down here we got a little leaf lettuce and some more red oak leaf. With sweet potatoes, I'm doing sweet potatoes this year. Drought weather, sweet potatoes do better in dry soil, so we're changing our crops. Here we're using peppers in a bed of mulch. Mulch is there to hold the water in. The apple crops are looking pretty good this year, although because of the lack of winter chill, they're blooming over a long period of time, and that's increasing the problem with fire blight. Right here you see this dead twig. The longer the tree's in flower, the greater chance that it's going to pick up fire blight. So I've been having to prune fire blight out of my trees this year. Otherwise, apples are coming along. My blackberries, exceptionally happy. I was at a client's on Friday, and he has Natchez, and Natchez was ripening already. He was picking. Now this is Triple Crown. This is my favorite blackberry, although Natchez is pretty good. This is a thornless black that's extremely sweet. Nice, upright, vertical growing plant. and it looks good this year. Seckel pear is looking good. This is one of my favorites. I love the seckel pear. Sometimes it's called the sugar pear. Camise pears are looking good too. I don't like this one quite as much as seckel, but this keeps really well. I can put these up for months and months. It's Memorial Day weekend, and the neighbors finally all woke up, and they're out there with their lawn mowers and their leaf blowers and tearing up the whole countryside with fossil fuel and helping to increase their carbon footprint, and also making a heck of a lot of noise. So I give up shooting videos today. Anyway, you get an idea of what's going on out here in the garden. If you tuned in earlier, you saw the beginning of some of this. Now you can see where it's going. So have a wonderful weekend. Happy gardening.